All right. Okay, Chris Hemrick, if you want to start your video, please. Thank you.
Yep.
And I don't know if you can change your camera, Miss Pogue, but it looks like you're on your side there. If you want to turn your camera. Okay, thank you. All right, we are on the record in the 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Greenwood County, Kansas, case number 2023 LM78. Christopher Hamrick versus Denisha Pogue. Denisha Pogue. Am I by chance getting either one of those names right?
Denisha Pogue.
Okay, Denisha Pogue. That's what I was trying to say, but it wasn't coming out very well. This matter comes on for hearing on a petition for eviction. Mr. Hamrick, in his petition, alleges that he is owner of a certain property in Madison, Greenwood County, Kansas, that it has been rented to the defendant, Ms. Pogue, on a month-to-month basis, starting March 26, 2023. In a concise statement, Mr. Hamrick, what is the basis of your action to evict Ms. Pogue from this property?
Your Honor, first I want to say that I'm not the owner. I'm actually the property manager. My mom owns the property.
All right. Let me see if that's what your petition alleges.
Okay.
Says you're the owner, plaintiff, and the only plaintiff shown is Christopher Hamrick is the owner, or the agent of the property. That works. Go ahead.
Correct. And the basis is on, there was a 30-day notice given on August 6th, 2023 to terminate the month-to-month lease. And as of September 6th, Ms. Pogue was still at the property.
Okay, so you said the 30-day notice was given August 26th of 23.
August 6th.
Oh,
Yeah.
August 6th.
Correct.
August 6th of 23, 30-day notice. What was the reason for giving this notice?
To terminate the month-to-month lease.
Was she behind or in violation or?
No, there was no payment per month.
Okay, so she did not pay.
Just to get possession of the property.
And how much was she to pay each month? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I've got it. So she was allowed to live there without payment?
Correct.
And then you decided you wanted her out of the property. Was this a relationship that ended or what happened here?
Well, no, her and her mom said that they would be gone August 1st. And they were still in the property August 6th. So a 30-day notice was given. And this was told to my mother.
All right, so your mother owns the property on 2nd Street in Madison. You are an agent for her. Correct. Concerning this property.
Correct.
It says in paragraph 2 of your petition that there was a rental agreement entered into on March 26, 2023. Is that correct?
That is when she occupied the property.
All right, so she really wasn't renting it. She was staying there just.
Correct.
Okay, just staying there, no rental agreement. All right, so we'll clarify number 1, that you are here as an agent. And number 2, we'll clarify that there was not a rental agreement as alleged, that she and her mother moved into the property with your permission without expectation of rent on March 26, 2023, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what happened that made you decide you wanted her out of the property? I mean, when she went in, was it open-ended? She could just stay there as long as she wanted, or were there terms on it?
No, Your Honor. According to my mother, the terms were they were leaving August 1st, 2023.
Well, why did your mother not bring this action? Why is your mother not here?
My mother lives in Maryland.
Okay. So say that again. They were supposed to be out by when?
My mother asked when they would be out, and they said August 1st, 2023.
Are these folks friends of your mom's?
Well, her mom and myself were married.
Okay, so Denisha's mom and you were married.
Correct.
Okay, and now you're not married?
We're legally separated.
Okay. And so when your relationship ended, you and your mom decided maybe they ought to find some other place to live?
Well, no, they stayed. Our relationship ended, and we actually signed the separation agreement April 2022. They stayed until August 2022, and they left, and then they came back in September 2022. They left again in January 2023 and came back in March 2023.
But they had permission to come back in March of 2023.
Correct. That was between them and my mother, though.
Okay. So right now, other than just the goodness of your mother's heart, they have no legal reason to be there. Is that
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Well, we were trying to help. Every time they came back, it was because they needed assistance. So we were trying to help, but I mean, the help has gone on for a year and a half now.
All right. Okay, so why did you not bring this action against Denisha Pogue's mother?
Well, my ex and our kids also live there. And so it is my desire and my hope that my kids can still stay there with their mom, but Denisha is an adult who also doesn't contribute. And it's my opinion and my mother's opinion that she should work or go to school or something, and that we should not take care of someone else's adult.
Okay, let's see if I got this straight. What is Denisha's mother's name?
Marcia.
Marcia, and her last name?
Menifee.
Menifee. And you and Marcia Menifee have children together?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how many do you have?
2.
Okay, so you're not trying to evict Marcia Menifee and the 2 children you have with her. You're literally trying to evict only her adult daughter, Denisha Pogue, and she's apparently from another father, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, but she is 18 or older.
Yes, she's 20, Your Honor.
She doesn't contribute to the home, and so you're thinking get her out. Yeah, but would her mother not have, if she is legitimately in the home, would she not be entitled to have whoever she wants in there, or is it strictly do you have anything in writing?
No, Your Honor. I
Okay.
actually requested and encouraged her mother to sign a lease. I actually requested both of them to do that last year. They refused to sign a lease, and I told them that would be for their own benefit. They refused to sign a lease because neither my mother nor myself want them there just free. I mean, we can't keep just paying for their living forever. So, but no, they refused to sign the lease.
But in fact, you are just letting them live there for free, are you not?
This last go about them coming back in March was not my doing.
You had nothing to do with that.
No, that was my mother who called. I don't know how it happened, but they discussed them staying there. I was against it.
All right. Well, I think I have an understanding now of what's going on and what you're asking for. So, Ms. Pogue, you're how old?
I'm 20.
You're 20, and are you a high school graduate?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed?
Not currently, no.
Have you ever been employed?
Yes.
Where did you work?
My last job, I worked for Chris.
Okay, for the plaintiff, Mr. Hamrick? And what
Yes.
kind of work did you do for him?
He had a at-home t-shirt business, and I designed shirts
Mhm.
and pretty much ran the business on my own.
Apparently that didn't work out between the two of you?
He fired me. He didn't want me to continue working for him.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
how long ago was that, Ms. Pope?
I worked for him. He fired me on around April 23rd of 2021.
So you've been unemployed for about 2.5 years?
2022. I'm sorry.
All right, about 1.5 years you've been unemployed.
Yes, ma'am.
And you live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and why are you not working?
Well, I'm doing at home stuff, trying to get it started. And I've applied
What are you trying to do?
pretty much the same thing, just on my own.
Okay, so the reason you're not working is because you're trying to start a home business of your own making t-shirt designs?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you been trying to do that?
For a few months now.
Do you offer any legal reason why I should not order you to be evicted from this residence?
Well, his mom gave us permission to stay here as long as we needed. We didn't agree to leaving on August the 1st. She said we could stay as long as we needed to.
She said you both could stay there.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you talked to her recently to see why we're in court if she gave you permission and she's the owner?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe she has asked Mr. Hamrick to bring this action and remove you from the property?
No, ma'am. He's evicted me. He's given me a 30-day notice once before. And that time she said she was unaware of him kicking me out. Because when we left the first time, he just was constantly harassing us, saying he didn't want us to be here. So we left and went to an Airbnb. And then he gave us permission and said we could move back. So we moved back in. And then I guess he didn't want us to be here again. So he gave me and my mom a 30-day notice. We left again. And then we were staying at an Airbnb. And we asked, could we rent it out? And he said no, which I have message proof of.
Okay.
And he said a lot of rude things. He said, no, we cannot move back. But his mom called and said that we could stay at the house for as long as we needed. Because it was ridiculous that he had 2 houses, 1 vacant, and we had nowhere to stay.
So what does your mom do for a living?
She's a stay-at-home mom.
She's a
Yeah.
stay-at-home mom who supports her and the children.
She supports herself.
How can she support herself staying at home watching the children full time? Does she have a job? Does she have money coming in to pay the bills? I mean, somebody's got to pay the electricity, the water, the food, the diapers. I don't know how old these kids are. How old are your siblings?
8 and 9.
Okay, so they're past diaper age. And they're half siblings to you, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you don't know who pays her bills or who pays for you?
His mom was paying the bills.
She was sending money for you guys to get groceries and gasoline and things like that?
No, we already had, she had money saved up, and we do have a little bit of income to get groceries and things like that.
What kind of income do you have for that? Is that through state assistance or through Mr. Hamrick? Who gives you that money?
We do have assistance, like food assistance. And yeah.
Mr. Hamrick, do you know how these women and children are surviving? Who's paying their bills?
Yes, Your Honor, I pay them.
Okay. And is that part of your separation agreement that you
No, Your Honor.
just do it?
Yep.
There is a document in the court file entered 9/19. It's called an exhibit. It's a copy of it says 30-day notice to quit, terminate tenancy to Denisha Pogue from Sandra Hamrick. That's your mom?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
There was a property description there in Madison. Giving notice that tenancy will be terminated, this says on the 5th of September, 2023. But it is not signed by her. It is signed by Christopher Hamrick, property manager. Okay. Well, this is an unusual situation where the property owner is not here, and I would say that if you verify that you were her property manager, that would not be a problem, other than you both attributed comments out of court declarations allegedly made by her that are in contradiction. Generally, out of court declarations by a party not present aren't even admissible. Neither of you objected when the others brought it up, but it leaves me with the problem of I don't know what the landowner's position is. So what I'm going to have to do is set this over so that you can get the landowner here, so she can speak for herself, so she can verify, one or the other of you, what you're saying here. But I don't want to set it over too far, because notice was given to be out on the 5th, or at least the 6th, the next day, if not on the 5th. So let's see what, and she can't appear by Zoom. You said she's where in New York, Mr. Hamrick?
She's in Maryland, Your Honor.
Maryland, yes, Maryland. She can appear by Zoom. It's not a problem, as long as she and I can see and hear each other, and you all can too. Let's see, Missy, I'm debating on whether to put that on the 5th or the 12th. We have some things set on the 12th, but do you have a preference, Missy, whether we put this on the 5th or the 12th?
Of October?
Yes, we are in October.
Okay, we can't do the 5th because you may be in jury trials.
That's why that looks so open.
The 12th, you just told me you have a dentist appointment at 11. So
Well,
we can go on the afternoon.
well, that's probably going to be an unpleasant dental appointment. Maybe not. That's pretty smooth. If these parties don't want to judge with a sore mouth, but I don't. What else? Is there another day we could put that so they don't have to wait so long? Well, we can't do anything next week, folks, because I'll probably be out for jury trial. What about, and then Columbus Day, the courthouse is closed. That's not the Monday the 9th. And
We don't have anything set October 10th.
in the morning anyway, right?
Right.
Looks like you've got the afternoon kind of busy. How about and what time difference does she have in Maryland?
She is 1 hour ahead.
Okay, so 9 o'clock for us would be 10 o'clock for her.
Yes, Your Honor.
You folks want to do that 9 o'clock our time?
That's fine by me.
Does that sound all right, Missy?
Yes.
All right, let's set this over for 9 a.m. our time, Central Standard, Tuesday, October 10th, 10/10. So if you could have her, please, Mr. Hamrick, attend, that will help me make the right decision in this case.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Pogue, I trust you can be here as well?
Yes.
And Ms. Pogue, it might not hurt to have your mother here as well, since in case something comes up that we need. I'm not sure that we would need her, but it wouldn't hurt. Okay. Thank you all. I'll see you back here absent something unforeseen. 10/10 at 9 o'clock our time.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Denasia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Hi.
Good morning, Chris.
We are on the record in the 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Greenwood County, Kansas. This is case number 2023 LM78, Christopher Hamrick versus Denasia Pogue. Please announce appearances, starting with the plaintiff.
Sandra Hamrick is here.
Chris Hamrick is here.
All right, and you two appear as plaintiffs, and then for defendant is?
Denasia Pogue.
Thank you. This case is a continuation of one that was started on September 28, 2023, an eviction case. And it was continued because the actual property owner was not here, and I was hearing conflicting opinions about her stance on this. Christopher Hamrick was here as property manager and son of Sandra Hamrick, property owner. He was saying that Ms. Hamrick was seeking an eviction of Ms. Pogue. Ms. Pogue being his former stepdaughter, his former wife, and 2 children still residing in the property. He's not seeking eviction of them, only Ms. Pogue. And Ms. Pogue, as I recall, you're about a 20-year-old, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hamrick said that you're not working, going to school, or contributing, and you said you're trying to start up a shirt business, some kind of shirt business that you learned the trade from Mr. Hamrick himself. And you were telling me, Ms. Pogue, at the last hearing that you had permission to be there, that Ms. Hamrick told you you and your mother and half siblings could stay in the house rent-free as long as they wanted. So Ms. Hamrick, Sandra Hamrick, I adjourned the hearing and said, I need you here. Apparently you are the owner of this property, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And have I stated your relationship correctly with Chris Hamrick? You're his mother?
Yes, he's my son.
And have you given him permission to manage that property that is in question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Trying to get call up the address of that property. I understand it is at Street, Madison, Greenwood County, Kansas. Is that correct?
Yes, Madison, Kansas.
All right.
66860. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you allowed Miss Pogue's mother, Miss Pogue, and two of your grandchildren to stay
Yes,
on that property. All right, and Miss Pogue is half sister to those two grandchildren, is that right?
that is correct.
Okay, so the question for you, Miss Hamrick, is just pretty simple and straightforward. Are you wanting to evict Denisha Pogue, or have you given her unlimited rights to stay in your property, or somewhere in between those two positions?
Well, I am ready to evict because I've gave them her plenty of time from March to August to get herself together, either go to school or get a job, because I can't, continue to pay for her to stay there.
All right, so you are seeking eviction. All right, well, Ms. Pogue, I'll give you any last to say on this matter before I make a ruling.
Can I speak? My mom asked if she could speak.
Okay, now your mom is staying in the house rent-free with the two children she shares with Mr. Hamrick and you, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Hamrick, you're not apparently seeking to evict anyone but Ms. Pogue out of that household, is that right?
At this time, yes.
All right, well, let's see. Let's talk to Ms. Pogue's mother that's there.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, and what is your name, please?
I'm Marcia.
What is it?
Marcia.
Marcia Pogue?
It's Hamrick, but I'm changing it back to Menifee, of course.
Okay, all right. So you were married to Mr. Hamrick or in a relationship with him, have two children. You have Denisha from a prior relationship. And you're staying rent-free, basically, as a somewhat of a guest of Miss Hamrick, is that right, since March?
Since the end of March, yes. Not necessarily rent-free, no. Miss Hamrick said she'd help us out, and she did. And Chris Hamrick owed me some money, and he said that he would take that out of us staying here. So technically, we're not staying here rent-free. And the reason I have not put him on child support is because I said I would never do that. We staying here, I won't put him on child support. I won't go for alimony. I won't even get half of the stuff. I would just work on building up. My daughter's helping me because she helped with the online. I'm working back on my licensing because I worked at the hospital in cardiology for 10 years before I met him. So we're not just staying here like rent-free, not doing anything. No, we're working. We're working on working because around here, we're 30 minutes from anything. So we have to apply for jobs. We're working online right now. We're trying to get back to the city so that we could get better access to jobs. So
when you say the city, what city do you mean?
We're planning on moving to Dallas.
Dallas, okay. And when do you plan to do that?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
When do you plan to move to Dallas?
As soon as I get enough money to move to Dallas. We've been working on saving up because here, inflation with everything. So it's going to take thousands of dollars to even get over there. And that is what the money that I was expecting from Chris Hamrick was going to help me get over there, the thousands of dollars to help me get over there. But since that was a setback, and he said, well, that's the pay for you guys staying there. So that's why we're here. And right now, without Denisha being here, that will be a disservice to me because I need the help. She's the only one that's really helping me when it comes to like household things and helping me online business. So yeah, it seems like he's trying to move Denisha out the way so I can be dependent back up on, him. But, I'm working on it. I just, it's like I've been taken out and put in the middle of the ocean and left there. So I'm working on building myself back up. I'm not trying to stay and live forever off him. I'm not trying to even get half of the things we had together. I wasn't trying to do any of those things. I wasn't trying to put him on child support. I said, okay, we're staying here. So, because the child support will be more than what it is staying here, the child support alimony. So I said, okay, we'll do that. I won't put him on child support. I won't do any of those things. So, until I get myself together. So that is why my daughter is here. And Ms. Hamrick said that she will help, and she did help, so I'm not expecting her to pay anything else. It is his responsibility because he owed me my money, the $1,000 that he owed me. So, at this point, I have his 2 kids. I haven't put them on child support. I haven't took alimony. I haven't took half of the stuff we own together. So that's why I'm working on it. I'm not just sitting here doing anything. I am working on it. I'm working on my licensing right now, my EKG and telemetry, to get back into cardiology and move to Dallas because they have better jobs there. I have looked at the jobs in Dallas and they have much better opportunities. We're in the middle of nowhere right now. So we have tried to apply for jobs, but they're few and far between. So, and we tried remote, remote jobs aren't really, hiring like that. So then my next best thing is a hospital job again, because I'm familiar with it.
All right, so what are your qualifications? You have some certification or degree or?
I have some certifications, EKG. I worked in cardiology in the hospital in Auburn, Alabama for over, about 10 years. So.
And you gave that up to be with Mr. Hamrick in Kansas?
Well, it's a long story. We've been everywhere. In Kansas, I don't know anyone here either. And that's the thing too. Like I'm starting, I don't know anyone. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So yes, we've moved around a lot. So when we were together.
I'm not sure that a lot of folks that agree you're in the middle of nowhere, although I think it's perspective. I can see compared to Dallas, it might be, but you are like what, half an hour or less from Eureka, and that's got some opportunities. There's a hospital. Emporia. You're in between Emporia and Eureka, right?
Yeah.
And Emporia is a pretty fair size for
I'm
Kansas.
Emporia, yes, and that's what we were filling out for the job applications at. Yes, in Emporia.
All right. Well, you folks certainly have a complicated relationship and present a unusual issue for the court today, because you're telling me that you need your daughter Denisha to help with the younger children and to help with the household while you do some kind of online business. What kind of business is that?
I'm starting by getting my licensing right now. I have to work on that. I'm working on that, and she's working on the online business with her art and doing, because she did artwork for Chris, and that's another story. But yeah, she did artwork for him. She's an artist, yes, and she does her art, online.
And you say, well, you're not paying cash under a formal contract for rent. You've made some kind of rental agreement in lieu of child support and maintenance or alimony. Mr. Hamrick, what do you say about that?
I actually object to that, Your Honor. The money she's claiming that I owe her is from my tax return from working. I paid taxes and I got a tax return. She didn't work last year, so I'm not sure what tax refund she's expecting from not working. Also, we have a separation agreement, which she did receive half of all the cash. She received the car paid off, and she also, as far as the tax return stuff goes, whoever benefited the most got to claim the children. I also pay for everything concerning the kids, and I still maintain the house. Ms. Pogue mentioned in the initial hearing that the house is vacant. It's not vacant. I was living there. So yeah, I object to those things.
Okay.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Is it still your position that they are there as guests more than renters? Or I know you're going through an eviction process because that's what you need to do, but what is your official position, Mr. Hamrick, as manager of the property and as you're tied into all of the defendant and her family? What's your final position on that as it relates to eviction?
As far as the eviction goes, I would like to move forward. As far as Marcia goes being there, I was trying to just make sure that the kids had access to both of their parents. She never sent me any 30-day request to move from the state or anything like that. So I'm trying to make sure that the kids maintain the same lifestyle that they're used to. It's a fairly large house with 4 bedrooms. So I would like to keep that same thing. I don't want them cooped up in some small studio like they were in before. So that's my thing. That's why we've been trying to, help, but it's, we've been helping for a year and a half. Also,
They had lived there before, as I recall.
yes, and they left the very first time. I didn't put them out. They left and moved to Kansas City. And then I don't know what happened with the money that she received, but it was gone in like 5 weeks. So I allowed them to come back. But there was no rent, no lease. And I actually tried to submit that into evidence, that whole conversation. But
well, I'm not
she requested,
stopping you from, if you have evidence that you want to present, you're sure welcome to do that. I don't want you to think I'm stopping you from presenting evidence.
okay, well, yeah, I actually emailed it to Judy yesterday, but I saw she was out of the office.
Judy,
she
the
asked
court
for 2
says
months.
there's someone else in the office. Go
Oh,
ahead.
it was someone else in the office? Hey, I didn't hear anything back. She just told me last week to email everything. So I emailed it to her yesterday. But Marcia asked for 2 months.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she asked for 2 months. I allowed her to stay there for 3 months.
When you say she, who do you mean?
Marcia, this was last September. She came back and asked to stay for 2 months. That 2 months was supposed to be up in November. They ended up leaving January 6th. And then the next time they moved back in March, that was something between her and my mom because I didn't want them back in there. But I did learn that they were living in like a studio apartment. I don't want my kids living like that because they didn't enjoy it. That's what they told me. But, if it's going to be this back and forth, I don't want a toxic situation for our children. So that's why I wasn't seeking anything towards Marcia at this time.
All right, well, did you hear Marcia say that Denisha is helping her maintain the household responsibilities and watch the children and things like that?
Yeah, I go to the house and I fix stuff and I go over there and I clean. So I don't go over there as much because the environment is hostile and I don't want my kids to see that either. My hope is once Denisha's gone, it calms down and I'll maintain that. But yeah, most of everything in there is mine. Except for their clothes. But yeah, I go over there and I maintain the property.
How old are these other 2 children that you have?
They're 8 and 9.
8 and 9, okay. And they go to school there in Madison?
They're homeschooled.
Oh, they're homeschooled. Who homeschools them?
Marcia.
Okay. All right. You did file as evidence a 30-day notice. It's 30-day notice to quit, terminate tenancy to Denise Pogue. It says from Sandra Hamrick, but it is signed by Christopher's property manager. And that was dated August 6th, 2023. With notice to be out by September 5th of 2023. It is now October 10th of 2023. Ms. Hamrick, property owner, you've heard Ms. Marcia say that, Marcia's Hamrick say that she needs her daughter, her 20-year-old daughter, to help while she's trying to get back on her feet. Your response to that?
Well, Your Honor, in March, I did suggest Marcia to go back home, back to Madison. And once I told her I would help her out until she get herself together because she said she wanted to go to Dallas, Texas. So I allowed her to stay there. By May, we spoke again and I asked her when would she be able to leave the property because I don't want to put anyone out in the cold or anything like that. So she said August. I said, okay, great. August will be a good time, for her to go to Dallas. So that was when I gave her to August to stay there. And now it's September. But Your Honor, the thing is for me, my children, and I'm not really sort of comparing, but I did not allow my children to stay with me to 2021. After high school, my daughter went to Job Corps and Christopher went to Morehouse. I feel at some point a child needs to get out and find themselves of, what are you going to do in your life? And she has not, as far as I know, Denasia has not been working or going to school or anything like that. So I'm just concerned that what her future is going to look like.
Okay, well, it sounds like that's a parenting issue, and as you said, a difference of opinion. A lot of people would agree with you. A lot of people wouldn't. They'd agree with Miss Marcias. But what I think I'm hearing is you want to evict the daughter, but not the mother, because you haven't taken any action to evict the mother. Is that right? Is that your position?
Well, for my grandkids' sake, no, not at this time, because I have been paying for the utilities, and Chris, as far as I know, has been paying the rent. And I also sent money to Marcia, but I don't know her status at this time. So I have been helping her. I don't know when she is going to decide to go to Dallas.
So you're not in any hurry to let Marcias, you're not in any hurry to move Marcias and the other two grandchildren out. Is that right?
Yes, my grandchildren, yes.
All right. I lost part of the folks there. So we're going to take a break until we get them back. We'll take a brief recess and see if we come back. I don't know if they lost their connection. Well, obviously they lost their connection, but whether their phone went dead or something happened in Madison there. So we'll take a recess till we see if we get them. I was going to see if they had come back yet. I was going to ask my assistant, but I can hear her talking to someone on the line. I don't know if it is the defendant or not.
I have not heard from them, Judge.
Well, give them a few more minutes. We may just have to continue this, but I don't want to keep continuing it. That's not fair to anyone. Do we have an email where you can email them, Missy, and see what they're doing?
I can try.
All right. I would think between the two of them, they'd have at least one phone or internet connection, but maybe not.
I do pay for the internet there, Your Honor. So it should
There you
be
go. There you go. Now, do you live in Madison yourself, Mr. Hamrick?
Yes, that is my main address. It's just,
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if you've had any experience with the internet being unreliable.
No, it's excellent over there.
Well, that's what I
Actually
thought.
better than where I am now. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they had a very good service over there. So, Missy, are you trying to call them or email them?
I got a hold of her by phone and she said her internet service went out.
Okay, so what is she gonna do about that?
Um,
Gonna
she
call
said
back
she
on
could
her
run. She said she could run to the library and see if she could get on there.
phone? I presume that's only about a 5-minute drive or walk.
Yeah, it's like 5
I
minutes.
assume.
And I hope they both go, but at least the named defendant. Okay, well, we'll give them 5 more minutes in and see what happens. Thank you, folks, for your patience.
Judge, we have her back.
I'm sorry about that.
All right, back on the record in Greenwood County 2023 LM 78 Hamrick versus Pogue. All parties as before. Ms. Pogue, is your mother back with us?
No, ma'am.
She stayed at home?
Yes, ma'am. She's
Okay.
coming, but she had to get the kids.
Okay. Well, she was really here more as a witness because she was not named in the eviction action. I've asked a lot of detailed questions because I was trying to determine if there really was a landlord-tenant action as Marcia's Hamrick's proposed. And if not, was she a guest along with Denise Pogue as the other Hamricks have suggested? And at this point, I think I've gotten plenty of information to help me determine whether we're looking at guests or tenants. Tenants certainly having different rights than guests in the home would have. There was no written contract, no rental agreement that I found offered in this case. And after a lengthy questioning period, I believe that's because Ms. Pogue and her mother are in Sandra Hamrick's property as guests, not tenants. It appears to this court that Sandra Hamrick is a good person concerned about her grandchildren and trying to help the mother of the grandchildren get on her feet. And that she took into consideration that Denisha Pogue was an adult daughter also without a home. And Sandra Hamrick offered them the use of this home for a period of time to, as she said, get on their feet. And she's been in, and Miss Macias and Hamrick and her daughter and children have been in and out of the house a couple of times over the years, or at least the last year, the most recent time being since March 2023, with the belief that they'd probably be out and on their way to Dallas with a new job by this time, but it didn't happen. So again, I find that Ms. Pogue and her half siblings and mother are guests in this house. That Ms. Pogue is a 20-year-old adult who has no right to be in the house. She doesn't pay rent. She didn't sign a contract. Her mother says, well, she helps around the house and she helps care for the children, although Mr. Hamrick takes issue with that and says basically he's the one that keeps the house up and cleans the house and so forth. But with all of the evidence in at this time, I am finding, Ms. Pogue, that you are a guest and that you were given a 30-day notice to be out well before now, and you're not. So I do grant the eviction to you. It's still Ms. Hamrick's home being maintained and managed by her son, Chris Hamrick. They allow some of the guests to stay, and I think that is apparent that it's because it involves the children and grandchildren. Were it not for the familial relationship and concern for the kids, I suspect that Marcius wouldn't be in the house as a guest either. But really, my standing here is my authority here is based strictly on the petition against Denisha Pogue. And I find that she has no authority to be in the house. Ms. Pogue, I'm sorry, I do have to grant the eviction. And so that will be what I will do. I will grant that. Mr. Hamrick, how long do you want to give her to get to, I should say Mr. Hamrick or Ms. Hamrick, how long do you want to give her to get out? Or do you want it to be forthwith? You've given her certainly notice.
What do you suggest, Christopher?
A week, maybe.
All right, Mr. Pogue, you have 1 week from today to secure another residence, and that will be the order of the court. Of course, you have 14 days to file an appeal, Ms. Pogue. If you think I have ruled in error of Kansas eviction law, you can certainly file that. The notice with the clerk, and then the action would be with the Kansas Court of Appeals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything from anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
No,
All right, thank you all very much. We'll be in recess.
thank you.
You're welcome.